I'm not sure how this will look, and I'm not going to be here long because I haven't been on for a really long time. And I wanted to do like a Hey Sis update. Like, we haven't updated in a long time. And it's really been challenging. It's been challenging. So, what I want to do is come on and give you all an update. My name is Dana. Welcome to the Freedom Please channel, which was the old name and essence of me. And I've really been going through this season of change and trying to decide how I want to navigate this space. So I've popped on just so that I won't be totally gone, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I need to make sure and listen. Y'all know I've done, like, I know how to do this when comments come on. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So let's just kind of like powwow and let me take you on a walk for a second and explain to you why I'm having this conundrum and maybe even share with you a little bit of where I'm thinking and how that would potentially affect you, or maybe not. I don't know. So, I started my YouTube channel, I would say maybe I was maybe 20. Wow. Okay, I'm not going to say how long it's been. Oh my goodness. It can't be that long. It's telling me that it's been over 15 years. So let me just go look and see. And in the beginning, I started the YouTube channel because that was the way that you could reply to some of your favorite videos. A lot of content was moving over to YouTube for natural hair. And at the time, I was with my first set of locks, and I wanted to comment to some all of the beautiful locks that I saw on YouTube because I did not see them anywhere else in life. And it replaced a lot of the platforms where there was just pictures. So basically, I came on to YouTube. Y'all, I'm trying to go on and also look at if I can see my oldest video. So that's what started it. That I wanted to interact with people who had natural hair, learn as much as I could, interact as much as I could. And the next evolution, oh, but in that whole time, I've always had Essence of Me. I've had my Essence of Me website since, y'all, if I tell you, can I just tell you, I've had my Essence of Me website since I was maybe, let's say, early 20s, and I'm in my early 40s. So let's just go ahead and put it out there like that. Okay. So my babies were like baby babies. And actually, yeah. And my youngest will be 21 in a couple weeks. So that's how long I've had Essence of Me. So, an Essence of Me, as a little bit of a backtrack, Essence of Me has always been about a place for me to explore all the things that I like and enjoy, all the things that make up the dynamics of who I am, because I've always been this like multi-passionate person, right? Crafting and arts and reading and writing and living and cooking and running, and it's always been this dynamic of me. And that's why I would say the essence of me, because all those things make up who I am. So with that said, and I'm scrolling. So over the years, it has evolved. If you go back and you look at my oldest videos, like, you literally can see it. You can see the poundage, you can see the changes, you can see the confidence, you can see the nerves, you can see like everything. You see my hair journey. If you really paid attention, you would even see my career changes. And they've always been similar, but it's evolved. Okay, my oldest video is 13 years. 13 years. Wow, 13 years. So, why I'm bringing this up now is because one of the things, like, I'm gonna just keep it 1,000. Like, I'm changing in my career. I see the people that I'm working with, the things that I'm getting to do now, because, and I'm gonna come back and tell you guys, like, I really had a, a meeting, me, myself, and I, at the end of last year. Actually, let me back up 2 years, not the year before. So not 21 and 2020, that I wanted to take my editing career to the next level. Hey, it's good seeing you too. It came out. Okay. Hey, lady. Um, so in 2020, I made some life goals for myself. One of the, as women, and I know this is for all people, but I think as women, I can say this with confidence, that we go through certain changes, not just by our age, but by our roles in life, right? So with my youngest, graduating from high school, that was a big deal. Graduating, and she went to cosmetology school. So graduating from cosmetology school, starting her own business. So all of my children being fully functional adults, changes your marriage, changes your household, changes your perspective, changes your time in ways that I didn't even realize until it was happening. And then as that was happening, again, I'm like, wait, why does this feel so different? And that's why it felt so different. Y'all, and I hope this is, can I just tell y'all, I just got this new thing and I'm trying to, and if you see, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. You might hear my family because it is Saturday morning. You might hear the diva dog because she has turned 10 years old. She's grouchy. She makes a loud noise. She may say, so I just got to tell you, just in case you hear it, because I can't stop every time she does it. So with that said, so as each of those things have happened, it's caused a shift, but this last one caused the biggest shift. I wish I knew how to go back and see the comments again. You know what I'll do is, how do I see them? Y'all, every time this happens, if I miss it, help me out and bring it back. If you ask a question, maybe post it again if I miss it. I'm going to see if I can see it on YouTube on my computer, but this last change was such a significant change because it was also the change of not having children that I was responsible for their schooling, their care, them eating, them being clothed, bathed, where they need to be for dance, traveling. And the last few years with my daughter were just so crazy because her competitive dancing and the team that she was on was traveling so much, and it just caused havoc over my life, on top of the fact of really putting a lot of energy into writing my books and growing my editing business. And so the way that timeline has all been played out on YouTube, even though I didn't mention it, it was going on in the background. When I started doing my blogs, that was because when my son, I homeschooled for 20, we homeschooled for 20 some odd years. So when when my son finished, I started realizing the change and was like, okay, let me invest time in getting better as an editor, starting to clean up how I was doing my publishing business just a little bit more, so that once my daughter was done, it was like, oh my goodness, this is really happening, and I'm making huge adjustments. So as I'm making these adjustments, it's being played out here. You know, I love doing my sister log videos. I love doing my quilting videos. I love doing my crafting videos. I craft every single day. I wish I would have brought it up. I'm making hexagons, like mini hexagons, and there have been like life. If I were to show you the corner, my quilt that I'm working on right now is literally on my sewing machine. Like I write and I sew on my breaks. But here has been the rub, okay? I don't want to make videos about that anymore. Like I want to show updates, but I don't want to do like tutorials and all this other stuff. Like I have things that I still want to do when it comes to crafting, because over the years I've always told you all that I would do it, and that has been doing some things as far as my quiet time routine and how I work my crafting into my prayer time and all of that, and I'm still going to do that. I really am. We've talked about it, but I haven't just been very specific, and I know that. So it doesn't mean those things are going away, but it has meant that I feel like I miss having the interaction and the engagement and being able to chronicle. That's what's been the best thing about this, to chronicle, number one. And number two is that I really believe that there has always been, for the, I'm going to say the OGs, okay? Hey, Mandy, thank you. I'm going to say the OGs. And Mandy's like one of the OGs, right? Of like, there has always been something more than the crafts. And that's the part where when I'm not updating, that gives me the most I don't want to say I feel bad, but I feel like there is still a level of maybe responsibility or um that this is a space that I've been called to in that capacity too. So when I don't update or come on, it feels like I'm also slighting that space too. And I'm not sure how to navigate it, right? So I've considered doing like popping on, checking in, but I feel like with that, because of my life right now, so a mini update on that, and then I'll circle around. Clients are growing. I just hired a business coach for my editing business, and it has been amazing. I'm still writing novels. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry, but that's all I gotta say. So I am still writing, and because of things that's happened in the world, the great thing has been it's been less travel because of everything, but that's starting to start up again. So that's been different. And so with that said, I feel like what I want to do is establish some sort of consistent schedule of being here again. And whether it's vlogs or whatever, so that I can try to find a new normal in the space. I love suggestions, and I always ask for them, and everyone's just like, do whatever it is you want. And I'm like, that's not helping me. So let me tell you some of the things that I've been considering. One of the things that I've been considering is to talk about topics that are what I feel like is important to me, and I believe that might be important to you, or answering your questions. Topics like what I'm talking about right now, transitioning. Transitioning your job, your career, transitioning in your life, your marriage, your children, and not to be this like authority, but I've been married it'll be 23 years soon. I have 3 adult children. In the vlogs, I think I've always talked a little bit about entrepreneurship, because that's always been on my radar, because the entire time that I've been doing this, I have been self-employed with my own business. And I'm saying self-employed, but I have a corporation. So it's more than just self-employed. I have employees. And that's another thing. It's like, okay, you come on here and be like, hey, and then your employees be like, but that's me. And I'm not apologizing for that. The other part is like this feeling of when you say, I'm my sister's keeper. I'm my sister's keeper. Yesterday I was working, and I'll circle back, I promise. And as I talk, girl, I'm sipping my coffee. I was working on this assignment for my coach, and I was looking at all the major milestones in my life. Grew up in a small town, moved to the city, had a lot of problems adjusting because we went from like living in houses to living in the projects. And growing up in a time where it was drugs and um, addiction and all of those things that were common around me, that there were certain things that helped me to avoid those pitfalls. And it's not until you sit back and you think about it that you realize, oh, dang, like all the things that you've really, marrying young, having children young, thankfully, happily married, blessed, happily married, and thriving children. And all the while trying, or not trying, and all the while building a version of myself that I've never seen. And that takes a level of intention. It also takes a level of being very honest with yourself. And part of this conversation is because it is, I think it's helpful, not just for the person going through the change, but also for the person watching the change. If there's changes that they want to do in their life and they just don't know how did you do this? How did you do that? And I think that's what's so cool when you think about the natural hair care movement or the natural hair care space on YouTube. It was like, it answered a big question of how, when it was something that we wasn't fully embracing for so long. But that's the same thing with our lives. Like, how do we make those changes? And so part of those hows have been going through the process of working with professional coaches and that, but being very like 100% real with myself when I'm saying, this is the type of person that I want to work with. This is the type of person that I need in my corner to get me from this stage to this stage. And either you're it or you're not. Thank you. I'm so glad this is a great conversation, because the reality is, I have been doing some life planning and realizing that I am creating a legacy for my family, that I am changing my life so that the generations after me will be changed. And y'all, look, this kind of stuff is not sexy, right? Like, it's not like, ooh, it's not, but it's real. And not, and having a life of abundance, a life of joy, a life of that is according to your own desires, a life that you love. And that is what, above everything, I've always been extremely intentional about. That's why I craft all the time. That's why I read. That's why I write. That's why I do everything, because I want the things that give me joy to be a regular part of my existence. And to me, in this space, because we've always had something more than the crafts, like that helped, right? Because it helped to kind of identify, like, oh, let's go over here. And some people are like, what? She's talking about a quilt. Yes. Yes, I'm talking about a quilt because I quilt. I quilt. Okay. And who knew I would love it so much, but I really do. I knit, I crochet. Yes, I do. And it's important to me. But it's always been important to me for spiritual soundness and not for production. And because I built this channel around that, sometimes it turned into production, and that would throw me in it. Even though I was being productive on the side of getting the projects done, it made me like off in my being, right? In myself. So to continue, part of what I'm thinking is to think about coming on for vlogs and having talks, doing more of the Hey Sis talks. I've been considering doing a podcast, and really about transition and change and womanhood, and what that looks like for us. Us being, Lord's will live longer. We will have so many experiences because of what we've gone through here recently. That is a collective experience that crossed past ethnicity, economics, gender. We all experienced it. I think that is a resetting that is just, and I don't want to talk about that in our politics because, girl, that makes my head spin. But what I can say is this: as I've been intentional about these changes in my business, in my person, it's meant that, well, in my business, it's meant that I've had to be very grounded in what I wanted as a person, as a woman, and in my life. And to do that, I've done a few things. I have been, my productivity and being intentional about my planning and my scheduling, so that I, now that it's just me and my husband, like being intentional in my relationships. Another thing that I've done, which I know this is what I need to do better about, is I told you all before, but I selected, I think it's 5 or 6 books, that I picked those books, a book in different areas of my life that I want to read over the course of this year. I actually have not done a good job of that. I've picked the books, but reading for work and for my clients have kind of shifted that around. But I will do better about that. So reading, and that would still involve the crafting, right? But it just means that part of what I'm doing in my day to day will be here, and it will still be essence of me. Like, it's not a rebranding in that, like, everything is going to be gone. But I want to just have like more of the Hey Sis vibe, and the crafting is a part of it versus the crafting being at the forefront and everything else kind of. Will you sometimes still get hair updates? Maybe. Because people still ask me questions and I still answer questions. So you always feel free to go to those videos and ask whatever questions you have, because I still believe if Black women knew how freeing having locks were, we would all rock locks. So therefore, I am a champion for it. But ultimately, my desire is to, I'm going to say it the way it's in my head, and if I need to rework it, I will, is to, that the sharing is not just a one-sided thing, but I would share if I feel like there is value, potential value for you too. And so always know that that will always be at the center of it, always. And so with that said, I'd love to know if there's some questions you have or some things you'd love for me to tackle or for me to talk about. And what I will do is, I'm using this because I was gonna, y'all, she was gonna put on her eyebrows and my lipstick, and I was gonna come on, but y'all already know. Look, some days I do, some days I don't, but I'm always me. And and what I will say is that it is a work in progress, and I'm gonna be transparent about that work in progress. I'm not sure if I will bring back vlogs, because I feel like, because I work from home, there's very little change in my day to day. So it may end up being that I kind of just capture clips over the course of the month and do vlogs maybe a couple times a month or once a month. I do have some actual projects that I'll still do videos on, that I may do talkovers over. So basically, it will still have that same consistent kind of vibe, but it'll just be a little bit different. And if I see, I honestly can say on one hand, if I see the video views going down, that I may change it, but I will not focus on that at this stage. I just won't. I just believe that The people that'll be here will be here, and the people that find that this doesn't work for them will unsubscribe. But what I do want is to have a very safe space for a mature woman conversation. That's why I always say, hey, sis. Another thing is that I may even so listen, y'all. I'll tell y'all what I did. If you've been around a while, you know that I have been a fan of subscription boxes. I have not done one in a really long time. I've done quilting subscription boxes. I've done yarn subscription boxes. At one time, I was in 3 yarn subscription boxes. I am still knitting through all of that yarn. I have not had to buy yarn in years, and I am still knitting on the same yarn, and I'm so cool with it. Actually, I'm almost done with my cowl, and then I want to start another sweater, but that's neither here nor there. But I did a new subscription box for a book club because I read a lot for my business and for clients, and I wanted someone else to pick the book. And so I want to kind of be able to talk about, what I'm reading and kind of what I've learned. And one of the things I will show you is this because it's not downstairs. One of the things that I did, you all seen me show this a few years ago. Yes. Oh, I don't know. Y'all, I think I'm gonna try one of those streaming platforms whenever I go live so that it'll stay. But yes, I hope people will too. And I think some will come and some will go, and that's okay. But you saw me, if you've been on my channel for a while, make this quilted kind of like a fake Hobonichi, or I don't know what they're called because I don't buy those things. Yes, that's right. Doing content that speaks to you. Y'all, I'm looking at comments. So, anyways, I did this a while ago and I still use it. I just have never really showed it much. But in here, I have different traveler's journals, some that I've made, some that I purchased. And last year, I kind of took some time. Oh, yes, we can definitely talk about it. She said Bible studies, goals, all of that. Yes. What I did is I kind of just took and I just wrote out my goals. And I'm not showing up close so you won't be all up in my business. But what I did was I took washi tape and I put it on the end of every new section that I did. So I have like my affirmations. Here is where I have my daily affirmation. That's why I kind of had the little glittery washi tape. Um, I've been keeping quotes. I've been keeping milestones for myself. And I'm showing this because this has kind of been one of those things that for me has been present in my life. And I realize more and more how when people ask me that this is something that people don't talk about a lot. Like, how do you say, I would like to get to point D and I'm at point A? What does those in between points look like? What does that look like? What are you doing in between those places? And what's happened is those, especially the OGs, have been with me on in the in between places and didn't know that you were, right? Because I'm crafting through making the moves. So the point is, I don't want to, oh yes, it's been almost 30 minutes. So with that said, I'd love suggestions. I saw some comments pop up and I'm hoping I'll be able to see them afterwards. My thoughts are a podcast, like hey, grown woman podcast. Not too heavy because y'all know I like to laugh and have fun, but also maybe goal setting, lessons learned, what I'm reading. Also, I'd love to be able to stick to the normal link that we like to always have on here, which is like 30 to 40 minutes because I want you to be able to grab your project. And I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes I'll be working on mine too. I'm not right now because I have this here and I was working on my computer. So next time I probably could if just what you're listening. So I'm working on some design stuff this morning. Um, so that blogs probably periodically, but not like now. I will do better when I do travel to vlog because those are always a lot more fun. But it may be more of this thing of you'll see. Know that the crafting is not going anywhere though. Okay. Mental health. Oh, that's big. Yes. And can I? Here's the thing about that too. Well, I'm gonna try to remember mental health. Actually, I'm gonna say it right now because I know I probably will forget. The thing about mental health a lot of times is that I feel like sometimes it's being talked about, and I never want to do it from a place where you're this trained authority. And that's why I've always talked about my quiet time. That has been the equilibrium or the balance that I needed in my mental health. Why? Because it quiets your mind. It helps you to, and when you have a practice of journaling, capturing a systematic approach, what it does is allows you to take all of that noise that's going on in here and get it out so that you can see it clearly. You being me. And that's how I've always, because it has been maturity that has taught me how much I've actually endured in the spaces around me, how they could have been negative, they could have been toxic, they could have been very challenging. But because those things were in place, I was unmovable. And just so, yes. So, to that, sis, yes. It may not be the hashtag mental health. You know how it is. I'm like, "Rah." But it can be, let's talk about journaling. Let's talk about quiet time. Let's talk about what you are putting in. Scripture tells us to put off and put on. And a lot of times what happens is we start putting on all this stuff, all this stuff, all this stuff, and we wonder why you feel all out of balance. But it's like you take off something, you put on something, not a million somethings. And that's how I operate with that. I'm usually focused on one thing. Or now in business, yeah, I like to do different things because I like my environment to kind of be eclectic and have the things that I like. But when you do that put off, put on, what happens is you don't just, it's not that simple. I remember recently, because this is a chat, I'm gonna try not to keep it forever. I was doing a biblical counseling session. I'm gonna say that. Let me say it this way: a biblical coaching session. And I walked the person through the process of understanding how to put off, how to put on, what it looks like. So when you are in the in between and you're trying to do that transition, you can catch yourself and you know what to tell yourself as you're trying to get the put on, the thing that you are embracing to become a new normal for you. And that's not easy, but it is doable. And the more you say, these are some things that I know as a woman or as a person. So let me speak for myself. Eliminating debt, being physically healthy, being mentally sound, being a boss over my space, being a leader to my employees, my staff, my team. And the biggest part of all of that is being a blessing in every space that I occupy. That you are better because you have decided to share this space with me. And that is intentional. It is intentional. And so that is a part of my mental health. I don't wake up and say, this is my mental health time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the way that you structure your life, the way that you identify the things that causes you to have imbalance, and the ways that you address it to correct it, it won't just correct itself. And that's how I go into. So we can talk about that. And I'm actually going to write that down. Because I wouldn't say it that way, but I get it that even though I would not say it that way, that's what it is. It is. And that's why for a lot of people, when we've done the Bible studies, that it's been helpful. Because at least in my opinion, because that's the way I approach I approach scripture in studying scripture, not to be a thing of good morning, sis. I hope you're well. I approach my time in scripture as being a time for Christ to renew me. Not that I know all the verses or that I gotta be a scholar. And there were seasons where I kind of felt that pressure, but now I don't feel that pressure because I know that it is to renew me. When I made one of the biggest investments in myself this past week. And I'm investing in someone to help me, but to for them to be able to help me, I've got to know what I want and allow them to help me to get there. So they got to help me change, but you can't change me. You know what I'm saying? So that means in my mind, I got to make sure that I'm addressing the things of me that need to change while they're helping me to make business decisions so that my business can go to the next level. And knowing that whoever it is that God brings to me was for me. And I have to fully show up and fully be here. And that speaks to the space too. That's why it's always been when you all check on me that I don't take that lightly. I don't care if it's one or two or five or 100. The one is fine. And I'll say, Mandy's one of those ones. She'll be like, hey, sis, I hope you're fine. It's been years of it, so I appreciate it. Marilyn is one of those ones. There's quite a few of those ones. And so I'm saying all this to say you'll see changes. Oh, you know I love a purple heart, girl. You'll see those changes. I'm going to tell you right now, I will ask if there's anybody that wants to get help with their business and their editing business to recommend me. I will tell you when I'm releasing books. I've had issues with that. Sometimes I'm like, well, this is for crafting, but I'm like, that's my business. Me being able to do those things is why I can spend time here, you know, and just getting comfortable with me. And it sounds weird to me sometimes to be in my early 40s and to say, I'm still trying to get comfortable with me, but I guess that's life, right? It's life. And you get one shot at it, and why not like your life? Why not love your life, you know? So with that said, I'm going to start wrapping it up. Do we have any questions? Any suggestions? I saw goals, mental health, some ideas about Bible study, and even though I'll say a mention of the Bible study right now, I don't have plans to do a full Bible study because of time. However, I do want to start doing topical videos, kind of like the thing of the put off, put on. So look out for that. Yeah, because people always are like, what? You write the sexy time books and you're talking about Jesus? Yep, I do. I do. Unapologetically. Unapologetically. Yes, tongue tied. Anything else? So, I'm telling you now, I will be back soon. I have no idea how that will look. Um, I know I want to do an unboxing for the book club. The book club book, well, it comes in this box, and there's, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna do an unboxing for that. That'll be the first kind of like a little bit of shift. Y'all know y'all have done unboxings before. If you've been around and you're an OG, you know how much I love opening up boxes. I love opening gifts. It can be small, it can be large. I don't know why. I just love it. It makes me so happy. So, it's in a box. It's in a box. And they have other little things in there. So I'll show that. And then once I read the book, I'll come back and talk about that. I've been picking books around things. I have one about spiritual soundness, finances, being basically boldly going into your life, um, business, like how to figure out things in your business space. And I don't, and it won't be dry. I mean, I won't be dry about it, and I'll mix it up with some things. But yeah, that's kind of like what I have in my lineup. And then, of course, whatever I'm working on, I want to do some things around planning and that. And then, yeah, like what I got going on. So once I put those all together, it makes like vlogging a little bit easier instead of just trying to just focus on crafting and what I'm doing in crafting and just like a little sneak peek of what I'm doing with my writing. It's like trying to partition it made it harder to do versus easier. And when essence of me has always been about the collective of the parts of me that make me me. And so you're just going to get more of that now. So anything else before I say adios? In closing, I hope that you are well. I hope that your family is well. And that if there's anything that you'd like for me to consider to bring here, please let me know. This has always been a place of being a sister to your sister. Really, yes, come on. You know I'm sending you hugs, Mandy. That has always been about, you know, being a sister to your sister. And I really would love for that to continue, for us to look out for one another. And if there's ways that we can help to get further, faster together, then I'm all for it. So know that it's coming. Y'all, my quality is going to be better, okay? I will do better. But this, I had to just push record or I was going to chicken out. And I was like, that's not even you, Dana. So I clicked record. So with that said, I'm out. Thank you for all of you who have stayed the length of this video with me. I look forward to the things that are coming up. Y'all, I'm not deleting anything. Everything that's here is going to be here. I will still be answering questions. I think some different like branding things, like my banners and stuff like that will change, but all of that's going to remain the same. All that ain't changing. It's still essence of me. It's still me. It's just you're going to get a little more zhuzh to go with it. So with that said, I am out. And you already know that I'm going to be over here clicking, 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 trying to figure out how to stop this daggone video. So with that said, take care. I will see you all hopefully sooner than later. And goodbye. What I tell y'all? I'm still, oh, there it goes. Bye.